Lots of us who've been around photography for a while use different terms when we're talking about buying cameras and lenses. We purchase cameras, but we invest in good glass. Hi, I'm Larry Becker. One of the most popular families of mirrorless cameras and lenses is the Fujifilm brand camera bodies and the growing collection of Fujinon X mount lenses. People considering this platform come at it from different directions too. There are pros and enthusiasts who may otherwise shoot with high-end DSLRs, but perhaps want a more compact option for themselves as well. They want great image quality and a lens selection that they can count on as their needs grow. Today we'll have a look at a wide variety of available lenses and their respective features, and I'll cover the lenses this way. We'll start by looking at the kit lens and one more starter lens. Then we'll consider some of the nice prime lenses. We'll look at a couple of nice zoom lenses. We'll spend a little time with some special purpose lenses, and we'll even look ahead at what Fuji tells us we can expect later this year and in 2016. Fujifilm brand mirrorless cameras were an easy recommendation for me recently when I was helping a friend and her husband buy their first serious camera beyond a point and shoot. They wanted a mirrorless camera that they could grow into as they learned more about photography, and they wanted a good starter lens. The XF 18-55mm f2.8 to f4 R LM OIS that comes with cameras like this Fujifilm X-T10 is a great starter lens. It has a 35mm equivalent focal length of 27 to 84 millimeters. Because of how Fujifilm X mount cameras are configured, many of the lenses have aperture rings on them for direct manual control. This particular lens also has optical image stabilization, which helps to reduce the appearance of camera shake when shooting handheld with slower shutter speeds. On the wide end of the zoom, this lens is reasonably fast, but you do land at f4 when you zoom to that 84mm portrait sweet spot. So it's a versatile and great starter lens, but in a minute we'll cover some really impressive portrait lenses. When my friend asked me which lens she should look at next, I asked her what she wanted to shoot. It came down to variety. So the second easy recommendation was the Fujifilm XC 50 to 230mm f4.5 to 6.7 OIS lens. And that's because of the price point and the fact that it adds a 76 to 350mm zoom equivalent. They'll be able to zoom farther than their kit lens, and later, when they're ready to tackle more artistic and fine art photography, they can look into other lens options. Photographers who appreciate nuanced detail will love the fast prime lens options available for the X-mount system. These lenses are nice for portraits and shallow depth of field, and those wide aperture numbers mean that they'll be great for low light photography as well. Now, there are more than just these, but I have a nice starter collection here from 32mm to 56mm, and in terms of a 35mm equivalent, that means 48 to 85mm. First up is this well-built metal barrel Zeiss Tuit 32mm f1.8 lens. It has T-Star anti-reflective coatings on all the lens surfaces to reduce reflections, glare, and ghosting. The nearly circular 9-blade aperture means bokeh fans will appreciate the out-of-focus areas in shallow depth of field images. And this is a great lens for street photographers combined with one of the compact Fuji cameras that are available. The Fujifilm XF 35mm f1.4 R lens is a 53mm equivalent, and it has a super EBC lens coating, a 7-blade aperture, and it can focus as close as 11 inches. This is an especially popular lens, and lots of photographers use it as their main lens for street shooting or really anytime they're on the go. I personally like the 85mm equivalent focal length that you get from the Fujifilm XF 56mm f1.2 R lens. This lens is especially good for capturing portraits. While the aperture can be stopped down to f16, that f1.2 wide aperture delivers beautiful shallow depth of field. I like the bokeh from this lens, but if you're really into bokeh, I'll tell you about another lens later in this video. Now this lens has an HT EBC multi-layer coating plus an additional layer of coating on the rear of the front element for improved flare reduction. Earlier I mentioned one of the more affordable zooms that complements the kit 18-55 f2.8 to f4 lens, and there are a couple others that might appeal more to people looking for a different feature set and faster maximum apertures. One nice option is the XF 18 to 135mm f3.5 to 5.6 R LM OIS WR lens. Now, the equivalent focal length is a nice range from 27 to 206 millimeters. There are HT EBC lens coatings, optical image stabilization, a linear autofocus motor, and that WR designation in the lens name means that it's weather sealed. I can picture this lens staying on the camera of a lot of users all the time. Suppose you're a regular user of a full-frame DSLR and you love your 70-200 f2.8 optically stabilized lens, and you'd like something like that for the X-mount system. The Fujifilm XF 50-140mm f2.8 R LM OIS WR lens is a 76-213mm equivalent with the f2.8 maximum aperture and weather-sealed construction. It's just what you're looking for. Quite a few of these lenses have short minimum focus distance ratings, but the Fujifilm XF 60mm f2.4 macro is a 90mm equivalent lens that focuses to 10.5 inches with a 1:2 maximum magnification ratio. This lens fits in that portrait lens category as well, and with an aperture ring that click stops in 1/3 stop increments, you can be especially precise with your exposure. And with the 9-blade aperture, bokeh is great here too. Fujifilm obviously knows that a good portion of their audience appreciates the craft of photography. Some of the lenses available really allow a photographer to expand on one's creative perspective. Here's a look at a few lens options that demonstrate the versatility available to the Fuji X-mount system. First, let's look at the Fujifilm XF 56mm f1.2 R APD lens. While I already mentioned a 56mm f1.2 lens when we were talking about nice portrait lenses, this lens, with that ADP designation, means that it comes with a controllable apodizing filter for adjusting bokeh. Since the apodization filter performs best at wide aperture values, a 3-step ND filter is built into the lens to aid in controlling exposure. Using 2 separate sets of aperture values, the red series of numbers indicates the effective aperture value as it relates to the depth of field. The standard white set of numbers indicates the actual f-stop number, and the difference between these 2 sets of numbers indicates the effectiveness of the filter. This lens also gives you a built-in means of doing long exposures during the day by using the ND filter and slowing down the camera's shutter for an interesting blur effect. A wide prime can be handy, and the Fujifilm XF 16mm f1.4 R WR lens is a 24mm equivalent, weather-sealed lens with nano GI and HT EBC lens coatings. You can focus as close as 6 inches, and the depth of field scale will help you craft just what you want from this lens when you're focusing manually. Beyond the Fujifilm folks, third-party makers know this audience as well. For example, Rokinon has recently released this 8mm f2.8 UMC Fisheye 2 lens, which has a 12mm equivalent focal length and a full 180-degree angle of view. It's always fun to play with the unique perspective of a fisheye lens. The wide f2.8 maximum aperture is nice for low light, and you can stop down to f22. Of course, the folks at LensBaby know that the X-mount system is a great place for people who like image crafting tools, and their Velvet 56mm f1.6 produces a dreamy, soft focus image quality with controllable sharpness by stopping down the lens. A 1:2 maximum magnification ratio and a 5-inch minimum working distance also means this lens is perfect for creative close-ups and detail shots. In the first quarter of this year, Fujifilm released information to let us know what's in the works for later this year and in 2016 as well, and things are looking good. We can expect another macro lens that will be a 120mm f2.8 telephoto, as well as a compact lightweight 35mm f2 lens. And while it's not an objective lens, I'm looking forward to the release of the 1.4x teleconverter. It's specifically designed for that 50 to 140mm f2.8 lens, the 120mm macro, and another lens that I haven't mentioned yet because it's one that Fujifilm has announced will be released in 2016. That's the XF 100 to 400mm f4.5 to 5.6 R LM OIS Super Telephoto Zoom. Well, there you have it, an overview of some of the lens options for the Fujifilm X-mount system. For B&H and Kelby One, I'm Larry Becker. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.
We all know the difference a great teacher makes. They inspire you, challenge you, and push you to do the things you never thought you could. For creatives, that means you've got to know your tools inside and out. Whether it's Photoshop or photography, lighting or Lightroom, InDesign or After Effects. And while there are free videos out there, you have to watch 30 bad ones just to find a decent one. And a lot of times, the techniques are either outdated, complicated, or just plain wrong. What we need is a better way to learn. One that connects amazing teachers with creative people all over the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A thriving educational community with nothing but the most talented, engaging, and respected teachers in the industry. Then we simplify the whole learning process with short, clear, concise classes. That's exactly what we've created for you right here at Kelby One.